Welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Ava, Steve, and John break Clyde out of captivity as Paulina slept in the sanitarium with Abe at her side. Chanel and Lonnie returned. "She's not good," Abe rumored. Abe explained that Paulina's breathing was labored and there was no update on a heart for a transplant. Lonnie encouraged Abe to leave and get some rest, but he refused to leave Paulina's side. "I want to be then when she wakes up," Abe said. Reluctantly, Lonnie agreed. "The Croakers said she's running out of time. But you know, there are thousands of other people who are staying for a heart transplant, too," Abe said. "Indeed, still, we cannot give up stopgap, right?" Chanel said. "Right. We are not giving up," Lonnie agreed. Paulina stirred awake and moaned. "Hi there, my love," Abe rumored. Lonnie and Chanel said hello, and Paulina beamed at her daughters. "How are you feeling?" Chanel asked. "My grandbabies?" Paulina asked. Lonnie assured Paulina that Eli would companion the kiddies over the coming day. Abe showed Paulina two filmland that the grandkids had drawn for Paulina. "We love you so much, Mama," Lonnie said. "I love them and you," Paulina rumored. With a boo, Paulina asked about whether there would be more grandbabies with Johnny. Chanel heaved. "You've got to give us some time, Mama. We just got wedded," Chanel said. "Paulina sighed, however, you tell them about me," Paulina stammered, "if I do not make it." Chanel and Lonnie changed a frightened look. "How can we help?" Lonnie asked. Paulina asked to talk to Abe alone. With a nod, Chanel and Lonnie left. "Yes, darling?" "What's it?" Abe rumored. "I feel myself slipping down," Paulina said. "No. You cannot talk like that. We only suppose appreciatively. I will not let you go." "I will not," Abe said. Paulina thanked Abe for the stylish times of her life. With gashes in his eyes, Abe told Paulina that he loved her. "Promise me." "Take care of my girls," Paulina said. "I promise," Abe said. Abe pledged to look after the whole family. "I will not let you down," Abe said. "So tired," Paulina rumored as she jounced off to sleep. Abe broke down in gashes. After a moment, Abe sniffled, and he thanked Paulina for the stylish times of his life. "I wish I could flash back all the times we had together. But rather, I got to fall in love with you each over again." "I love you," Abe said. As Paulina continued to slumber without a response, Abe wished for further time. "We need to make new recollections," Abe rumored. Abe told Paulina that if she was too tired to fight, it was okay to let go. "We will try to get on without you. I know that is what you'd want. You'd want us to be strong. You'd want us to take care of each other." "And we will," Abe said through gashes. Abe kissed Paulina's hand. A bright light shone down on Paulina, and she opened her eyes. A figure walked to the bottom of the bed, and Paulina refocused at her. Abe turned to look at what Paulina was gaping at. In the hallway, Chanel and Lonnie sat in the staying area. "I cannot believe this. Mama just got through cancer, and her surgery was a success. She was supposed to be out of the forest land. We were each so happy," Chanel said. Lonnie noted that when she had been a child, Paulina had sounded imperishable to her. She made all the other grown-ups just shake in their thrills. "But I had no idea that she was going through hell. I had no idea that she was in an vituperative marriage, that she was forced to give up her child. But she pushed through the other side. She's a survivor," Lonnie said. With a sad smile, Lonnie reminded Chanel of when Lonnie had first learned that Paulina was her natural mama. "I was so worried at her for keeping it from me. Like, I was awful to her," Lonnie said. Chanel took her family's hand, and she noted that Lonnie's response had been accessible. "I know that she was doing it to cover me. I know that she wanted to keep me down from a man that would abuse me and beat me like he did to her, Lonnie said. Lonnie noted that Paulina had offered her own happiness for her son. Just like you would do for Jules and Carver, Chanel combated. Lonnie jounced yes through her gashes. My babies are going to grow up without their grandmother. They will not flash back her, Lonnie said. Chanel lamented that her kitties would no way know their grandmother at all. What are we going to do? Mama is the one person who loves us no matter what, Chanel said. With a nod, Lonnie noted that the purest love was between a mama and her child. Chanel and Lonnie noted that they were lucky to have their mama. And that luck more not run out, Chanel added. After Chanel and Lonnie hugged and cried together, they sniffled back their gashes. Chanel pulled out her compact to check her makeup. Paulina can tell from afar down when I have been crying, Chanel said. She knows we are spooked. We cannot wisecrack her, Lonnie said. Chanel agreed. Chanel and Lonnie chortled as they talked about Paulina's wit and bossiness. Our awful mama is in there dying. It's illegal. All these horrible people, they just get to live, Chanel complained. With a mime, Lonnie noted that life was illegal. Like Big Mama always said, you've got to play the cards you've been dealt. But let's not lose stopgap, Lonnie said. Lonnie added that if they lost their mama, they still had one another. And we will cry, and we will suffer, and our hearts will be broken. But hey, we will pull ourselves together, and we will be the strong and fierce, important women that she has shown us to be by her illustration. And we will keep her in our hearts ever. And we will make her proud, Lonnie said. Lonnie suggested that she and Chanel go to the tabernacle to supplicate. In the abandoned brewery fermenter tank, Trip comforted Wendy that his family would find them. How long until we run out of oxygen? Wendy asked. Actually, the issue is not running out of oxygen, per se, Trip said. Trip explained that the peril in an enclosed space like the fermenter was the buildup of carbon dioxide. Wendy soughed. Trip suggested that they minimize their exertion so that they could make the oxygen last. As Wendy sat down, she plotted not to wheeze. Take laggardly, shallow breaths, Trip advised. Wendy braked her breathing as Trip sat quietly at her side. You are being so stalwart, Wendy rumored. Fake it till you make it, flashback? Trip said. Wendy told Trip that she wasn't spooked, because she knew they would be fine. And indeed if we are not, I will deal with it, because I am with the man I love, Wendy said. Trip smiled. Who has no way loved you further than he does right now, Trip combated. Trip and Wendy hugged for a moment. Do you believe in God? Wendy asked. Trip noted that his Mama's side of the family were devoted Catholics. I am asking about you, Wendy said. With a shriek, Trip noted that at the sanitarium, the people that believed in an afterlife dealt with bad news a bit better. But do you believe that? That everything happens for a reason? That God is looking out for us right now? Wendy asked. I want to believe that. Especially now. You know, I cannot believe we no way talked about this, but are you religious at all? Trip asked. Wendy admitted that she had been raised to seek enlightenment through contemplation. I was tutored that life is beautiful and mysterious, but it's also full of suffering and query. Like right now, Wendy said. Trip apologized for having kept Wendy from returning to China. Stop. Enough with the guilt, Trip. I am then because we fell in love. Because I love you, Trip Johnson. And if I had to choose between living 100 times not knowing you and falling in love with you, being with you, right then in this grave, I'd pick the grave, Wendy said. Trip said he wouldn't trade his time with Wendy for anything, moreover. Wendy suggested that they write dispatches to their family. Nothing to write on or with. We are just going to have to trust that they know that we were allowing of them and love them, Trip said. But my parents, they formerly lost Lee. So, I am their only child now. I am so spooked that they are not going to be suitable to deal with it, Wendy confessed. Wendy noted that Trip was an only child for Ava, too.